Once upon a time, there was a woman who had no children. She once went to a good witch for help. The woman said she was dreaming of a child. The sorceress gave her a seed and ordered to plant it in a flower pot. The woman was very happy, thanked the old woman, and went home. At home, she planted a seed, watered it, and began to wait patiently. Soon a large wonderful flower, like a tulip, grew in the pot. When its petals opened, there was a tiny girl inside. She was very small, no more than an inch. Therefore, the woman called her Thumbelina. One night, when Thumbelina was fast asleep, a huge toad climbed onto the window of the house, wet and ugly. She grabbed the sleeping girl and hurried to her swamp. The toad decided to marry her ugly son to the beautiful Thumbelina. She planted her in the middle of the river on a wide lily leaf so that the girl would not run away. In the morning, Thumbelina woke up, and realized that she was not at home, but there was water around her. When the girl realized what a terrible fate awaited her, she wept bitterly. At this moment, small fish swam past. They felt sorry for Thumbelina. They gnawed at the stem of the lily, and the leaf floated with the flow with the girl. A large beetle flew past. Seeing a beautiful girl, he grabbed her and carried her to a tree, where he introduced her to his friends. They all envied her beauty, but said that Thumbelina was very ugly and could not be in their company. Under pressure from acquaintances, the beetle also decided that she was ugly, lowered the girl to the ground and said goodbye. All summer Thumbelina lived alone in the forest. She made a cradle for herself from grass and leaves. She ate on pollen and dew, basked in the sun in clear weather, and hid from the rain under a large leaf of burdock. But soon cold rains and winds came. Thumbelina did not have a winter outfit, and she began to freeze. The girl suffered from hunger and cold. And one day she was sheltered by a field mouse. Hey! They lived together gloriously. The girl helped the mouse with the housework, told her fairy tales, and in return received warm housing and food. The field mouse had a neighbor, a wealthy blind mole, who did this by counting his wealth all the time. Even being blind, the mole realized that Thumbelina was very cute and offered to marry her. But the girl was not at all happy about this. She did not like the boring mole. Once, walking along the underground passages, Thumbelina saw a wounded swallow, which almost died of the cold.
Oh no!
All winter she took care of the sick bird and by the spring she cured her. Before the wedding, Thumbelina asked the mouse to let her go upstairs to admire the sun at last. When she climbed out of the mouse hole, she saw a swallow, which she cured. Thumbelina complained to the bird that she was being forced to marry a nasty mole and live with him deep underground. The swallow invited the girl to fly with her to warm lands, and she agreed. She quickly said goodbye to the mouse, climbed onto the swallow, and they flew away. Once in a wonderful country, Thumbelina saw a huge meadow with beautiful flowers. She chose the most beautiful flower for herself to live in. Suddenly, she saw in the flower the same little man as she, only with wings. It was the king of the elves. And an elf lived in every flower. The beautiful elf has never seen a girl as small as himself, and even so beautiful. He immediately fell in love with Thumbelina, and invited her to become his wife, the queen of the elves and the queen of flowers. After all her adventures, the girl was happy to hear such an offer from the charming prince. She happily agreed. The elf took Thumbelina by the hand, and at the same moment 2 wings appeared behind her. Now she has become the queen of the elves. And since then they have lived happily ever after.
A long time ago, poor man Ali Baba lived with his wife Zainab in a distant eastern country. He made his living by hard work. He chopped wood in the forest and sold it in the market. Once, while working, Ali Baba noticed that a whole detachment of horsemen was galloping towards him. Out of fear, he climbed a tree and hid in the foliage. The riders stopped under a tree and removed the sacks full of gold from the horses. There were exactly 40 of them, led by the one-eyed chieftain Hassan. Ali Baba immediately guessed that these were robbers who had returned with their prey.
Oh no!
While Ali Baba was trembling with horror, the chieftain approached a rock nearby and whispered an incantation. Suddenly an inconspicuous iron door overgrown with grass opened in the rock.
Cool.
The robbers entered the cave, hid all the stolen gold there, took the empty bags and rode back into the forest. After making sure that there were no robbers, Ali Baba descended from the tree.
Cool.
He went to the secret door and whispered the spell he had heard from the chieftain. The door flew open.
Okay.
Ali Baba saw a huge cave full of gold, silver, expensive fabrics and diamonds. Ali Baba looked around, quickly grabbed 2 bags of gold, loaded them onto the donkey and rushed home. Returning to his wife, Ali Baba showed her the sacks of gold. Delighted with wealth, they began to count coins. But the couple did not succeed because there were too many coins. The money should have been measured with a special cup, but poor Ali Baba did not have it. Then Zainab decided to take the cup from Ali Baba's rich brother Qasim. Qasim himself was burning with curiosity. He could not understand why the beggar Ali Baba needed a measuring cup for gold. Therefore, he smeared the bottom of the bowl with honey to find out exactly what the spouses would measure. When Ali Baba returned the bowl, Qasim noticed that gold coins had stuck to the honey at the bottom. He realized that Ali Baba was hiding wealth from him. Then Qasim came to his brother and threatened to inform the king about him if Ali Baba did not tell the whole truth. The frightened Ali Baba told Qasim about the robbers, the cave and even about the spell that opens the secret door. In the morning Qasim took 10 donkeys and headed to the cave. After casting a spell, he went inside. The untold wealth of the cash turned Qasim's head. He danced for a long time among gold and precious stones, stuffing his bags with coins. Suddenly the sound of hooves was heard outside the door. The robbers have returned. Qasim tried to hide behind sacks of gold, but the robbers found, tied up and kidnapped him. The one-eyed chieftain immediately realized that Qasim was not the only one who knew about the cash in the cave. Then the robber went to the city and learned that a certain Ali Baba had previously been a poor man and now suddenly became rich.
Cool.
Adaman followed Ali Baba home and marked his door with a black cross to come at night and take revenge. By evening, Ali Baba's wife went out into the garden to water the donkeys. She saw the cross and immediately realized that this sign was not good. Then she painted the same crosses on all the neighboring houses. At night, the robbers returned and saw that all the doors were marked with a black cross. They could not find Ali Baba's house. Their plan failed. The next day, the chieftain hung 40 large jugs on the donkeys, hid the robbers in them, and set off for the city. At the bazaar, he pretended to sell butter, and he himself again tracked down Ali Baba. When it got dark, the chieftain knocked on the house of Ali Baba. The robber asked to spend the night, and in return offered to present 40 large jugs of oil. And Ali Baba agreed. He cordially received the chieftain, and even allowed to drive the donkeys into the yard. While preparing dinner for a guest, Ali Baba's wife noticed that they had just run out of butter. Then she went out into the courtyard to pick up the oil that their guest had brought. But suddenly in the jugs there was a rustle and whisper of robbers. Then Zainab ran to the kitchen, grabbed a cup of boiling water and poured it on one of the robbers. He got scared, screamed, jumped out of the jug and ran towards the mountains. The whole detachment rushed after him in fright. Realizing that he too would soon be uncovered, the chieftain ran out of the house and disappeared without a trace. And Ali Baba and his wife lived happily ever after. And the robbers never returned.